Welcome to the Wedding Songs Podcast, featuring newly released songs you need to know and the tried and true classics. Get song ideas from the time guests arrive until the last dance of the reception. And now your host, Matt Campbell, founder of MyWeddingSongs.com.
Welcome, everybody, to the 94th episode of the Wedding Songs Podcast. I am Matt Campbell, and today I am very pleased to have the one and only Shawanda from Lovely Events Group. She is based here in Las Vegas, but not only a wedding planner and event coordinator at ESPN. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Go ahead and say hello, Shawanda.
Hey, everyone. I am Shawanda Holsey, as Matt pointed out, and I'm excited to be here, Matt, on your show. So listen, I'm ready to dive in.
Awesome. So let's start off with the question that I ask everybody. What are some of your most memorable moments at weddings?
I have had two memorable moments that kind of stick out to me, and they're both humorous. So one happens to be with the father. Usually I fill out the witness statement on their marriage license and keepsake license. However, one specific wedding at the Mirage, poolside, by the way, I had a father come up to me and he was so eager. He was so excited to watch his daughter get married and to be there to walk her down the aisle. He wanted to sign the keepsake license himself as the witness. Like, he wanted his John Henry to be on there. That's the one they're going to frame at home and things like that. I made the mistake. I was still getting my bearings as a new officiant. I gave him over my binder with all of the legal paperwork in there. He slides my tip in there unknowingly to me, and a gust of wind comes through. We're in the month of October in Vegas. It was a little windy by the pool, and it blows all of the paperwork out of his hand into the pool. Talk about a Vegas wedding story. So we had to get the ancillary staff from the Mirage to get into the pool, literally undress, get into the pool, and find and hunt down all the paperwork, like literally. And then, of course, we had to get a reprint done at Clark County's office. They gave me a freebie on that one. They were like, listen, this was an exciting story to hear and funny, so we're going to give you this pass. That was one that really sticks out that I always tell. I know that couple has the most amazing Our Vegas Wedding story. Paperwork blowing in the pool. That's one, Matt. And then I have another one where we had a kid at the altar. She was the flower girl, and as the father's getting ready to say his personal vows, I've given him the mic. She kind of pulls on his tuxedo and says, "Daddy, may I have some chips?" And he says, "Sure, sweetheart," after the ceremony. She says, "Are you sure after the ceremony?" He says, "Yes." And all of this is caught on the microphone. The audience just laughs. It was just a pure raw moment of humor where she's about 4 to 6 years old, I would gauge, and she just had to get that out. She really wanted some chips. It was so funny.
Well, I think speaking of that, couples have to realize that your wedding isn't going to go exactly as planned, and to definitely thrive on those moments, because that's what you're going to remember for years to come. And when she gets married, and then now you can tell this story at their wedding. So that's what's awesome.
Authentic memories. Oh my goodness, I love it. Speaking of that, Matt, when we do have kids that do have to come down the aisles, there's a lot of pressure there. So I want parents to remember that. Sometimes, we can handle that pressure of the eyeballs on us, and we're excited, and they're in their Sunday's best, of course. But their little personalities are still blossoming. So I say, give them some grace. If they slow down or if they freeze, just have that trusted person there to walk them through. They're part of the wedding.
That's a great tip. And even what's becoming popular right now are pets. So the same thing goes for pets too. It's kind of
pet anxiety is real, you know what I mean? So be realistic about how much you want to put on the extra member of your family.
Very true. If you would just go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about you and your company.
Lovely Events Group. We are a boutique company, full service event planning company here in Las Vegas, specializing in live sporting events, weddings, and luxury event rentals. We currently plan weddings at our partner venues like Rainbow Gardens and the Mirage. We go in as a preferred vendor and officiate weddings on their behalf. We also plan weddings. We do pre-planning as well prior to a bride's and groom's or all of our couples special day. One thing that I've noticed in our industry that helps my business is having verticals, different verticals, because you never know what you're going to get. Planning, I ran into certain officiants not being licensed, or they would bring people from out of town. And I had someone in the wedding industry that saw a gift within myself and suggested that I become a wedding officiant. Because I had planned so many weddings and saw that there was a need there, that was a avenue, another vertical that I could tap into, Matt, that helped to blossom my business and my credibility here in the Las Vegas market. Remember, I moved here 3.5 years ago from Atlanta, Georgia, and started this business. It has been really about being creative in this space and also getting very involved in the business sector. That has been one of the things that has helped with my success here.
So since you're talking about being a preferred vendor at some of the venues, do you have a list of preferred vendors yourself that you work with as the wedding planner?
We do. And right now I am learning that processes and procedures are golden. I have a business coach that I work with. I've worked with her for the last 2.5 years. I am developing a full guide to bring preferred vendors onto my team. And I've tried a few out. You have to do that in the industry when you're new somewhere. You have to kind of roll up the sleeves and, really lean on just trusting business professionals in the industry and doing your research and making sure you vet as much as possible. So I've had really good interactions. The Wedding Chamber, the Metro Business Chamber of Commerce also has been a big aid in that. When I mentioned getting involved in the community and learning how business was done in this community before I showed up. That was pretty interesting. And that onion continues to bloom because I drove in here on May 1st of 2020 when Las Vegas was completely shut down.
Wow.
So I've watched it, kind of reemerge, and there was room in the industry. People asked, why did you come here? I'm a hospitality specialist, had started a new business, had the background, and I'm a Southern girl from Georgia. I wanted some new professional challenges in the hospitality capital of the world, also wedding capital of the world. I wanted to come in at a time where there was a big shift. There was room for people like me who had started new businesses. There was a lot of business that had moved out. This economy needed Lovely Events Group, and we are here to service.
That's awesome. So I was going to ask you, do you typically plan the pre-wedding and also day of coordination, or do you just do the pre-wedding?
Usually pre-wedding is something that happens sporadically. I'm going to be honest, it just depends on how soon our brides get to us. Any bride that I have met at Bridal Spectacular, which is one of the vessels that I used here, is one of the largest bridal shows. You know this, Matt. When I get clients from there, there's a lot of pre-planning that happens, right? Now, when people are assigned to me from some of these preferred venues, sometimes it's day of coordination and just fly on-site officiating. My packages, though, this year, I'm going to be honest, the one that has sold the most has been day of coordination that I've put together. I'm there 8 to 10 hours. That's just for my team of what our day of coordination package carries from a timeline standpoint, but it has been very popular. A lot of couples are excited to roll up their sleeves and get into the planning process to save themselves that money. We want them to do what makes them comfortable, and they call the experts in when they need us. Day of coordination still takes pre-planning, though. That's the secret that they don't realize. A lot of my couples, for instance, I have one October 14th, one October 26th. We met back at Bridal Spectacular. One, we actually met back previously last October, and there's been a lot of pre-planning that happens for day of coordination. It's just a give or take, and you just have to be ready to serve those needs when they come up.
So when you're talking with them, how does music come into the conversation as far as for their ceremony or the reception? How does that conversation go?
Usually, if they have a venue, and it can go two ways. Sometimes I help them source the venue, and so I'm going to take them to one of my preferred vendors, which I know you have to provide the DJ list because I have the raw files that our brides and grooms and couples are provided with for their wedding. I get a chance to kind of see that this is something you have to turn in. Most venues require your playlist per se. That is how that comes up, because on my checklist, that is something that I remind them to do at least 2 weeks prior, but I always find that 2 weeks or 1 week out that they still have not turned this paperwork in. This has been one of the soft spots within the planning realm, even from private, social, corporate stuff. Matt, it goes all the way to there too, back to even my sports folks. I love them, but highly, highly negligent, I'm going to say, in the wedding department. That's the music side of things gets left out. It's like it's shelved until it can't be shelved anymore. And now it's like, oh my goodness, what's going to be played?
Even my experience as a wedding DJ, that's exactly what I've experienced, that it's the last 2 weeks before the wedding. And you're saying even later than that. That's very disheartening.
I've seen it. I'm like, oh, and the poor DJ. I've seen day of. One of my brides was so stressed. She did not, literally, I had to bring your booking and just give it to
Thank you.
and open it to the pages. And I had him bookmarked with the clip. And he was trying. He had an assistant there that was on one computer. These guys were tech guys, so they were able to hook in and send between one another. But that is high pressure. Do you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
High pressure. Fun story, Matt. I also had an impersonator. I got booked to hire an impersonator for a birthday party, an 80th birthday party. Huge milestone for the mother coming out of Texas. It was amazing. However, the talent, this is something that I learned as a planner as well in this market. Make sure you're doing your checks and balances on entertainment companies when they have direct access to the DJ. So as a planner, sometimes we're so busy, we don't want to get, as a DJ, you don't want to get copied on every single email, especially if you're the bridge, right? The impersonator did not get the songs over to the DJ. Rather, her entertainment manager did not. That's really not her thing to do, but that ball got dropped and it hindered the performance a little bit because we had to kind of sit and wait for things to get uploaded and certain songs that couldn't have vocals on it because she's the vocalist. She's the impersonator. So learned a lesson there. DJ lessons, Matt. We got to go sit and talk about some of this stuff because it's literally, I'm from the music side. Now, do you see how sometimes the music side can have a planner kind of tugging at the hair?
Looking at the planner boards and the DJ boards on Facebook, there is definitely some tension between the planner and the DJ community. Hopefully that there's some work through that anyway.
We got to work together and find a way to ebb and flow and do processes and procedures, checks and balances. Had I checked, it would have been cleared up. However, I just trusted and really didn't verify. So learning, I think we've all done that, just assuming that someone's going to have that role covered. And when it's not covered, you have to be reactive.
Absolutely. It comes down to the wedding couple being happy, and you just have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you too about the venues in Vegas. Are venues curtailing what you can play and what you cannot play based on your playlist? Are you experiencing any facilities that are saying you can't play this type of music or limiting what you can play?
Not at all. I have not ran into that, not at one venue, no.
Okay. Cool. Let me switch gears a little bit then. What trends or colors can you say that are really popular right now that you think are going to continue into 2024?
Colors of the year, I always look those up. Better Home and Gardens, fashion designers, everybody has their predictions. I kind of go through and forecast with them on the best ones that I think as a planner and what I've been seeing in the market are going to stick. Right now, hues of blue are kind of making their way back around. That was kind of the 2021 push as well. I'm seeing that trend stay. Listen to me, boho chic has been around with the pampas grass and the palms. It's just not going anywhere. People are getting way creative with it. They're doing Western styles with it. I've seen modern, takes on it as well. So there's so many ways with that particular look to say that it's going to be cemented into 2024 as well. I think we're going to also see vibrant greens, beautiful greenery and floral, lots of plants, live living things, live floral, even though it's a little bit more pricier, it's still going to make its debut over some of the silks in certain venues. And then rust and copper, Matt, are some colors that are going to come in there. You're going to see subtle little assets of that versus golds. So that is going to kind of take the attention away from golds, but that rust copper look is going to be on the rise in 2024.
I love that because even our kitchen is accented with copper. We're not huge gold fans. Brides never want to have the same stuff as all of their friends anyway. So, what are you seeing in trends as far as the format of the reception? A lot of couples used to have the first dance, then the cake cutting, and the bouquet toss. Are you seeing a lot of the bouquet tosses being X'd out of the reception? What are you seeing at receptions that people are choosing to do?
Some receptions are staying traditional, and then some people are remixing it up and doing their own thing. So, yes, the traditional bouquet toss happens at some of my traditional weddings. However, it has been on the decline. People have kind of done away with it, as well as wedding favors. I'm finding that some of my brides and grooms and couples are saying we're going to eliminate that out of the budget. Yeah, we just don't think that it's plausible. However, they're adding other things in, games and things like that into the wedding. I've had quite a few weddings that have added in some things that are very interesting. So, for instance, bobbleheads on the cakes, but they are personalized bobbleheads to look like a lot of my same-sex couples get the bobbleheads and they are mirrored and they're so cool. They're made for their personality. So that is a trend that is in that's coming in for 2024 is those truly personalized cakes that have character play on there.
That's so funny you say that because a few months ago, Sharon and I flew into Milwaukee and we went to the Bobblehead Hall of Fame.
Look at that.
They have over 6,500 bobbleheads. It's insane.
It's insane. I bet that is a sight to see. I never knew that museum exists, so that may have to go on the bucket list. I'm pretty sure I have sports ones. I have Tom Brady. I'm a big Patriots fan. You know, it is what it is, folks. It's 32 teams for a reason. I'm going to say that. I still have not let go of the fact that Brady has left our team. They're recovering. And I still have a lot of his paraphernalia. A bobblehead is one of them.
Can you give any tips for couples that are planning their weddings?
Listen, any couples planning weddings for the remainder of 2023, believe it or not, Matt, some of my venues get people calling 2 weeks before. It's just one of those things. Some people like to live on the edge. They just like to say, you know what, we're spontaneously going to pick our venue and we're getting married in the next 60 days. I would just say, have your checklist together. I, as a planner, would love to have all couples 6 months, 18 months out worth of planning. That's just not in this market realistic. I've learned to be proactive and help them to help themselves, right? To help us to help them. It's a whole metaphor. And checklist. Get your checklist together. Make sure that you have concise goals. Make decisions when you are on a tight timeline. If you're going to be within 3 months, 6 months, that's real hardcore planning. If you're going to roll up your sleeves and get involved, make sure you have proper checklists. It's set and make definite decisions. At this point, make decisions. Don't overlook it. Too many options. Also, if you're going to have children a part of the wedding, I hinted on this earlier, make sure that you have activity kits for them, things that are stimulating and soothing to children. Sometimes as an adult, we just forget we are in waiting mode, that these little people need to have some type of entertainment when they're going to be on site 4, 6, 8 hours at a time, because we want them at their best. We want everyone to enjoy. So those are some of the tips. And they have wedding kits, wedding activity kits, little puzzles and activity sheets and little things to keep them going while you all are engaging in a beautiful wedding ceremony.
I think that's a great tip of keeping your kids busy. I've seen other tips where even at the reception, they'll put paper down on the table. So then they'll have crayons. I think it's a great idea because so many couples out there are choosing not to even have kids at their receptions.
That is a trend. Just let me just talk about that one. That's a trend that has become popular. I, as a planner, I stay diplomatic and neutral in that because I can understand why some people, if you have very small children and you know your children, that's okay. Don't feel like you are sending them out per se, because guess what? This is your production. I tell all of my couples this moment with your husband, wife, or if you're a same-sex couple, your wife and wife, your groom and groom, to all of the couples out there, I want to say this as well. Make it your production and run the show how you need to. Just like we do in football, run that play how you see fit, because it's ultimately your day. You're going to have to look back on those moments. And there's pockets and windows and times where you can have the kids involved and also have some time where they can leave. Or again, there's an activity space or room dedicated for them. That's important. But there is a trend, Matt, where people are saying, you know what, we're going to have the kids back. If they're here in Vegas, we're going to send them on an excursion. They're going to do activities. It just depends, on the parents. Some people get nannies. I, again, don't have an opinion on it one way or the other because it's couples based. But that is something that's on the rise, where reception wise, they may have them a part of the wedding, but I'm noticing sometimes an aunt, uncle, elder, they whisk them away and take them away to do something fun or just back to their hotel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're whisking them off to Circus.
Right. Look, something fun, Area 15. And some of the kids have voiced their opinions. I've done weddings where midway through the reception, that happens. So an auntie or uncle takes some of the older kids, then the adult fun happens. That's when the music changes. That's another tip. If you want that, schedule it. It's okay to say, okay, at this point in time, I'm making an announcement. I had one of my couples to do that. Her family was highly religious and they flew in. She wanted that to be announced. And so the DJ and the MC made that announcement and they were so grateful for it. And no, everybody hugged, kissed, and got their last goodbyes out. They got back on the shuttles because they had shuttles coming around as well.
Nice.
For the wedding party. And all is well. The young crowd got to stay behind and party until they closed the venue down. And the elders got to go back and enjoy themselves.
I think that as long as you're setting the expectations for your guests, this is what's happening, then there's no surprises and everybody knows what's going to happen. Like you said, we're cranking up the music. I'm just letting everybody know this is what's happening.
Yes, that's important. Oh my goodness. That line of communication is important. Again, that could be on your checklist to make sure that you're communicating. Also, have a number two. I've seen brides burn out, grooms burn out because they are trying to run the full show. And once everybody gets to calling your phones and you're the main point of contact, it really can get to be overwhelming. That's one of the things. Assign someone to be able to take calls and speak on your behalf without you having to be around, and you trust the decisions that are being made.
Great tip. One more question about the music. Are you seeing any trends in music as far as what people are dancing to or what the DJs are playing? What are you seeing?
I am seeing a lot of line dancing coming back. Literally, the whole room is getting engaged. I'm seeing that's a trend that I've noticed some of the DJs have done to come from behind the booth and get folks involved and get them out of their seat and break it up and let them know, like, hey, you're here for a destination wedding. Let's have some fun. So one venue I work in particular, there's one DJ that is one of his goals is to make sure that the whole room gets involved in the dancing. And it makes a difference. It does. It really makes a difference. Everybody is up and active, whether you want to or not. You don't have to do much moving because you're in a line. You're lined up. So it doesn't require much, right? And so I love to see that trend continue for 2024, which gets everyone involved, makes great for photos too. Photographers, videographers, love it. It's a win-win.
I was talking to another DJ, and when you're in the line dance, all of that pressure comes off. That, hey, the spotlight's on me. Oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me. Where if you're just part of the group, nobody's really looking at you. They're paying attention to what their steps are.
Who's in front of them, and they're just in the moment. Those are some of those, authentic moments that we want to see. And so the bride and groom and the kids are in the room. They love that part when they can get involved as well and just be a part of the fun. So I'm highly encouraged to kind of plug that in there, a line dance. Even if you're a DJ, you just say, hey, this is the one we want to play. And let's make sure that it happens, because it really is another element of fun. Takes it to that next level.
Awesome. So is there anything else you wanted to cover today? And then we'll close out with how people can contact you, but is there anything else that you wanted to talk about today?
I would say with couple, make sure that when you are given any types of forms or information to be filled out for your ceremony, especially for the officiating side, please fill it out. Please make sure you're thorough as possible with the spelling of last names, and just names in general, because we want to, as officiants, to fill out your paperwork and have your marriage licenses seamless. We don't want to see you have to repay for anything with name change. But what I have seen is that the witness, when giving a witness name, I've seen some people misspell some things or give me the wrong misspelling, and then they've had to go back and pay for that form to get corrected. Slow down. Think about who you want your witnesses to be. Fill out any forms and paperwork in advance if you can, because that's going to save you the rushing, overwhelming feeling. A lot of different things that are going to be on your checklist. Get the easy things off first. And that's one of them. I actually sent out a type form. It's a link via text message or email. And it's 8 simple questions. And would you believe, Matt, sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get those 8 simple questions about the ceremony that I'm writing for you, custom, back.
Yes, I can't tell you how important that is because of how many weddings I've been to where the officiants mispronounce their name. That way they're submitting the wrong documents. I think even more important than that is the story that's told during the ceremony. Just to give your sides of the story in that paperwork, that's so important, just so that way the officiants can prepare for your wedding.
This is true. It's important. Get it off the list early. And it's one of those things where it's going to help us to help you and all the other vendors that you've paid for shine. Because once that videographer has that good footage, they can edit it and make it beautiful and put it together seamlessly. Same with photography. There's no awkwardness in looks on the camera because the wrong name was said or pronounced. I actually want couples to really, really focus on that side of things, the admin side of the wedding.
Get that paperwork in. Just even for the DJs, you're going to give the DJ whatever number of songs. It's a talent to put that in order to what makes sense and what's going to get people dancing. So yes, get all of that paperwork in early. Just to close it out, Shawanda, can you just tell everybody how to contact you?
Yes, we're very active on our social media channels, Instagram and Facebook at Lovely Events Group. Please, please, please feel free to click that Linktree button and connect with us. You can message us. You can book time on our calendar. We're one of those crazy planners. Yes, we love it. It helps us to secure business because we're one of the few planners that allow you to book on our calendars. We also can be reached via our website. Make sure you click that Let's Get Started button and allow us to bring that sophisticated fun to your event.
Fantastic. So is your website lovelyeventsgroup.com?
Lovelyeventsgroup.com.
Awesome. There you go. Thank you very much, Shawanda, for joining me today. If you would just tune in to next week, I'm going to be interviewing another wedding professional. Thanks for listening and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Wedding Songs Podcast. Never miss a future episode. Subscribe today to our podcast. Follow us on Facebook at My Wedding Songs and send us a message about playlists you would like covered.